Hi guys, hey, happy to be here. And I'll go through my background in a minute, but Devin Bice from the University of West Alabama. I'm going into my third season this fall. Been a lot of different places. I'll go through my background in a minute, but I love this slide. And coach is asking. I make my own graphics and everything that you'll see. But the biggest thing, especially if you go to West Alabama right now and go and sit in my meeting room and ask the offense who's the most important, it's us, right? You don't win unless you have a really good offensive line. And you win in the trenches, period. And I know all you guys know that, and that's why we're here. But we're also called the Hogs where I'm at. Okay, that's a big deal for us. But just want to kind of go through that. But like I said, so the offensive line coach at West Alabama, and I'll give you my card and everything at the end. Just make sure y'all got my contact. But a little bit about me. So I'm from Bonifay, Florida. Y'all probably don't know where that is. That's right outside of Panama City. Okay, on the Panhandle, best state in America, sorry, but played at the Citadel. So my background, I was a tight end my whole life. Tight end in high school, little league, 2 years of college, and then we went to the triple option and went to tackle. And I tell my guys every day, it's a mindset to be an offensive lineman. You don't grow up being an offensive lineman as a little guy, right? You're always throwing the ball with your dad and all that stuff, but in order to be an offensive lineman, you have to have that mindset and that mentality, right? I started 3 years as left tackle, played at the Citadel, played against really good competition. In my coaching style, so I just finished my 9th season. So I graduated from the Citadel in 2013, just finished my 9th season coaching, and I've been at every level. So I was at a high school level in Florida, at 3 different schools, 1A all the way up to 8A. And then I got the opportunity to go to North Carolina State as a GA, then Center College in Kentucky, and now I'm at West Alabama. So I've been at every different level. So I can relate to you guys and really talk ball with you guys and let you know how everything correlates. And I hate when big time coaches come up here and say, hey, this is what we do because we got cats that are 5 stars, right? When a lot of guys don't have that, right? So I can relate with you guys because I've been there. I've coached those types of guys. I've coached the high school freshmen that you're trying to really work and get in there, right? So that's what I've done and what I've been doing, okay? So my presentation today is power, okay? And I know a lot of different guys have talked a lot of different ways about power, but I'm going to go and talk about what we do at West Alabama, which is a little different than what everybody else does, okay? But I know everybody kind of has the concept of power, but for us, it's a little different, right? So the biggest thing that I'm going to talk about is the fundamentals and breaking it down, right? So I never want to go into a meeting room and just show game film, right? I want to show you our terminology. I want to show drills. I want to show everything that's going to correlate into the game film at the end. I'm going to show drills, all these different things that you guys can use because at the end of the day, we're offensive line coaches. We're all a brotherhood. I don't care. You can take all my stuff. I don't care. I'll send it to you. I might not tell you the plays. I might not tell you our verbiage like specifically, but at the end of the day, you can have all my stuff because we're going to work together. We're going to do things together and we're trying to be the best coaches that we can, right? So just start with terminology. So the major terminologies that we're going to talk about, and when I talk about it, is the power step, the jab step. So the jab step, when I talk about picking up, putting it down, that's the jab step. Just real quick, just trying to get in the ground. The power step is my second step, right? So jab step, second step with power, trying to get it in the ground and with force, all right? And then the different pulls that I teach. Okay, so I have the square pull. I know Coach talked about it earlier where I'm just trying to open it up and just pull that lawnmower, right? And then I got the skip pull. And I'll talk about the skip pull. I kind of do it a little different than everybody else, but I think it really correlates with what we do and it helps the guys out. All right, so blocking techniques. So the biggest one that is huge for us is the high wall, all right? That's that back block, okay? And we call it a high wall because I got to make sure when I block back as a center, I can't let him cross my face. So I'm creating that wall in front of that defender where he can't cross my face, okay? And we do things different at West Alabama where the center is blocking back on a shade or a 2-eye, but if there's a 3, he's pulling, okay? And I'll go through that in a minute. But the high wall, when I talk about high wall, that's that block by the center or even that guard on that 3 technique. All right, the braced high knee or gallop that a lot of people call it, okay? So this is going to be your play side combo, okay? The brace technique is going to be this guard. If there's a 3 technique on the play side, we're running power to the right. The brace technique, all I'm trying to do is get my feet in the ground and brace and hold that defender in place so that tackle can come through and high knee that thing and knock that thing over, okay? So, and I'm going to go through the high knee gallop technique. I know a lot of people don't really teach that much, but that's that technique where the tackle will gallop through and knock that hip over, okay? But when I talk about brace high knee, that's that combo on the front side. All right, the match. So I know some coaches talked about earlier, the pick and hinge, we don't do that. We don't pick and hinge because we are a true RPO where we're always calling different routes on the perimeter. So we don't want to have to pick and hinge and create that short edge. We want to get that guy, that tackle on the backside to match, to go base that guy and stay square and stay where he doesn't give up penetration. So the quarterback, if he does pull, he has time to throw the ball. Okay, so that's that match. That's that tackle on the backside. All right, the skip pull. All right, so if you hear me talk about the skip pull, it's going to be either the guard or the center, depending on what we have on the defense. And he's going to skip pull, taking his footwork, okay? And his eyes are going to be on that play side linebacker, okay? So he's going to try to stay square, get his eyes on the linebacker right now, read the double team, read that tight end's block, and make his way up to the second level, okay? So that's a skip pull. Square pull. So there's a lot of things that can go into this too. So if there's any edge pressure or anything like that where you got to open up and just make sure you go downhill flat tight to the line of scrimmage and kick that first defender on the line of scrimmage out. Okay. So if you hear me talk about the square pull, that's what we talk about. All right. So our play. All right. So power to the left. This is everything drawn up, all our rules, everything together. Right. So I have it drawn up where the receivers are blocking. Okay. Now that's just day one install. But once we get kind of further along, that's going to be where we're going to call the RPOs, uncovereds, all those things with the running routes, okay? But for us in the box, all right, we got the tight end attached. Now, he can be on the line of scrimmage or even back as a sniffer, okay? But he has the defensive end no matter where he goes, all right? He's blocking the defensive end. Like we talked about earlier, we got the brace, high knee combo, okay? We have a combo tag for that. Everybody's different, okay? But we make a combo tag. And with my offensive line, the center is calling the defense. Okay? We're a high-tempo team, so we're not huddling. We're at the line of scrimmage right now. Okay? Once we get the play call from the quarterback, the center is calling the defense. The center is calling what linebackers are in the box, how many linebackers in the box. The guards are calling their technique. The guards are calling the combos. The tackle is calling his technique so everybody understands what the defense is for as the big picture. Okay, so in this instant, the play side guard, the left guard, is calling the combo tag, telling the tackle, hey, we're working together. All right, we also communicate on who's pulling. The guard's going to communicate, hey, there's a shade or a 2-eye. You're pulling, right? So I want to make sure that we understand who's pulling, and it also tells, we talk out loud so everybody understands who's pulling in the backfield as well, okay? So we got a pulling tag, we got a combo tag, we call the defense, and the backside tackle knows he's got match no matter where that defensive end goes. Okay, so that's just the big picture of the play, just breaking everything down, the techniques. All right, drill work. So this drill, I'm going to let it play a little bit. I love this drill. This is one of the EDDs that I do. This is called the gap circuit. I got this from West Virginia. Okay, this is going through the different pulls that you're going to see. Got the high wall. You got a back block. All right. And my guys, they then, day one, it might take some time to kind of correlate and get everybody to understand. But once we go outside and I say, hey, we're going to do the gap circuit, they know how it is. They even set it up. But this is just a quick 5 minutes where you do it to both sides, right? Once you go, you rotate in the circle, you go twice in that direction, then you flip it, okay? But this is really big, and there's different things that you can do as well. So with the high wall, in the back block, you can even get a defender in there with the med ball. You can kind of make it where it's different. Now, with the pulls, you can also make it where you have a defender and he has to log. He has to go and kick him out, right? There's different things that you can work. But this is a really good drill, an everyday drill that you can do with the gap circuit, okay? Really good with my guys to really get that footwork in. And what I want to show, too, is you got the different pulls right here. So right here, this is going to be the skip pull. And the way I teach the skip pull, and you can see it in this drill, I want to step towards my target with that first step, right? So if I'm pulling to the left on the skip pull, step with my left foot towards my target. I skip, third step, now I'm downhill. Why do I do that? Because I want to make sure I keep a base. It also allows me to get depth, because a lot of people, and I know people teach it this way, where they just go into the skip. Well, now if I go into the skip right away, I'm off balance. I don't get any depth. I don't have any width with my pull. Okay, so I really teach them, you got to step towards your target first to make sure you get that width, and then get depth with that skip. And now I'm downhill, and it keeps me square on everything I do. Okay, so that's the gap circuit. All right. One thing that I like to correlate to is the sled. It's a mindset, baby. I get it. Hey, it's not really correlates to what we do in a lot of different schemes, but at the end of the day, if you start practice with this, it's a mindset. My guys know, hey, we're on the sled. I got to get my mind right. This sled is heavy. It sucks, right? But the one thing I do like is, in order to hit the sled, you got to get your feet in the ground. And I tell them, you got to get at least 2 to 3 feet in the ground before you make contact. And that's game-like. I can't make contact on that first step. So in order to hit the sled or do anything in football, you got to get your feet in the ground and have hot feet, right? So you can see these guys really working to get their feet in the ground, stay low, have that mindset, have my face in him, get my hands where they need to be and strike and drive, okay? So we do this every day. Right after the gap circuit, we'll get into the sled work and get that thing going, all right? And there's the local hero, Seth Lawson from Huntsville. I'd like to throw some heat on him. All right. I know a lot of guys don't have the Crowther, but I love the Crowther. Love it. We do a lot of stuff on there. We can do zone work on there. Right now, we're going to work the brace technique. Okay. All right. So, what we're working right here is the brace, like we talked about on the front side of power. So all I want to do is just pick it up, put it down, stay square, make contact on my second to third step. And the way I teach the strike, I hate the flipper. I hate when people want to do the flipper, and I want to have my wrist above my elbow, right? So I want to make sure that I keep everything nice and tight. And when I strike, my palm is making contact, okay? So you can see in this drill right here, the way they're striking, boom. You got the hands right there on the sternum, okay? Feet are getting in the ground now, staying square. And the way I do it too is I'm driving until I tell you to stop, right? Yeah, that might not happen in game-like stuff because it might happen so quick. But my guys have that mindset, hey, in the brace technique, I'm staying on this until the tackle comes over, okay? So in this drill work, I'm really focusing on staying square, keeping that offhand out of there for this drill, and driving until I tell them to stop, okay? But you can see everything is nice and tight. Their footwork's fast, getting them in the ground, and I'm striking with that tight elbow and that palm up, okay? So that's the brace technique.
With the brace technique, particularly with that, is there any emphasis on, or do you emphasize at all lifting? I know some guys want to lift.
A little bit. I'm not really focused on the lift because I know that tackle's going to come through, okay? But I want to make sure, in this drill, it's really focusing on that one strike. But when I'm teaching the brace, and we're going to see it in a little bit, that other hand that they're not using is on that guy's shoulder pad. So my inside hand is on the sternum, on the chest plate, and I'm lifting a little bit. The other hand's right there on the shoulder. So once that tackle comes through, I pull the sink and take it with me. Okay, but a little bit of lift, but I'm more focused on bracing and keeping that contact until that tackle comes through.
I saw with Coach Bridges' guys, a lot of them when they were, and I know they got that wide gap, but with the play side guard on power, their jab step was to the gap that they're responsible for, and then they're into their guy.
Right.
Do you teach them to step with the right foot instead into the center of the guy and then brace with the second step?
No, so it's gonna be more pick it up, put it down with that opposite foot.
Okay.
Right. So let me go back to the other one. All right, so you can see it. They're just trying to get that first step in the ground, right? And it's not really like a jab towards the guy. I'm just trying to pick it up, put it down, right? So I can just get my second, third step in the ground now, okay? So like I said earlier, that jab step is just getting it in the ground now, right? Nice and quick. No, we can talk about that in a little bit, but inside zone is totally different for me. All right, so here's another look at the brace technique. So picking up, putting it down, striking with that hand into the middle of the sternum, nice and low. Work until I tell them to stop. Really good job. There's Seth again. And everything that I do, I make it where everybody that's involved with the offensive line does it, right? So my centers, guards, tackles, tight ends. So this one has a tight end in there. We're all working that technique because at the end of the day, who knows what front we're going to see? Anybody can do it up front, right? So it could be a tight end tackle having to work that brace high knee, right? So I want to make sure everybody does the drill and understands the concept because they can see it depending on the front, right? All right, so that's the brace. So now get into the gallop high knee, okay? So same thing on the Crowther, but you saw how on that last drill with the brace, we're right there on the pad. Well, with the gallop, the way I teach it, it's a 3-step process. So right here, if I'm the right tackle and I'm going to gallop on that 3 technique that is getting braced by that guard, I'm going to step towards my target. I'm going to skip. And then on that 3rd step, really emphasize knocking that hip over. My landmark as a tackle is the hip, the closest hip to me. Okay, I want to make sure I'm nice and low. And why do I want it to be the hip? Because nobody can go anywhere without their hip, right? So I want to make contact with that hip, keep that offhand free, keeps me square. Once I knock it over, now I'm getting up vertical. Okay, so this is a really good job by this group right here. You can see with those 3 steps, step towards my target, skip, and really load into that with power. And then the same thing, I want to make contact with my shoulder and palm. I don't want the flipper. Okay, so if I'm going to knock that over, I'm here with the shoulder, palm, and explode through on my way up to the linebacker. Okay, so this is a really good job by this group. And you can see where their hand is. They're nice and low. They're exploding through. And the same thing, right? It's not realistic to stay on that block long. But for this drill, I want them to really emphasize the power, exploding through, and then when I tell them to stop, they come off. Okay? So really good job right here. When they come off, they have to act like they're going to a linebacker. Now, you can emphasize even more, get somebody out there with a med ball. They gotta strike when they come off. But this is a really good, just trying to get everybody involved, come off on the whistle, work the technique. Another look at it. This is another tight end that's working the high knee, right? Making sure that I think that's Bryce Macbeth, actually. So we were talking about him earlier. But really focusing on the 3 steps in the ground, staying nice and low, stay on that hip, explode through, come off on the linebacker. All right, there's Seth again. So really good job right there with these guys, taking their 3 steps, exploding through, keeping that hand on that landmark, and then working to the linebacker when I told them to stop. All right, now putting it all together, okay? So in this drill, we're working the brace and the high knee against a defender, okay? So what I want this defender, now this is a freshman, you know how it is, trying to herd cats and tell the defense what to do. But in a perfect world, I want that med ball to be on the side, on the hip. Why? To protect the defender, but also allow that tackle to really be forceful with that knockover, okay? You asked earlier, right? This is a good example of Seth, he's going to pick it up, put it down. I'm here, bracing. Once that tackle comes through, I'm pulling the sink, okay? Now, why do I call it pull the sink? Well, if you're demoing a house and you have free range to do whatever you want, right, and there's a sink in the wall, you're going to try to pull that thing out, right? Try to demo that thing, try to just make as much damage as possible. But you ain't going to pull a sink out like this. It's going to be more across your body with power, right? So this is the same thing I teach them. Once that tackle comes through, you want to pull that guy and take him with you and drive him away from the play. Okay, so you can see Seth right here, the guard, working that off the brace, get ready for that tackle to knock it over, pull the sink, drive to the whistle. That's a really good job. The tackle does a great job with the high knee, knocking it over, working vertical, right? So with that tackle, he's working to the backside linebacker. But I don't want to go to him. I want to meet him. So I tell him to go vertical once I knock that thing over and allow that guy to come to you. Now, we see loaded boxes. We see 3 linebackers in the box, right? So I tell my tackle, right, if it's a loaded box, you have to go to the middle linebacker, the Mike, okay? Which he could be even a faster flow linebacker. So if we come off vertical, we can take that, okay? So really good job right here. Now, correlating practice. So this is down here, the centers and the tight ends working that base. So I know Coach was talking about at Huntington, right? It's just him and a student assistant. Well, I have the tight ends coach with me. I have a student assistant. I got a GA. Like I got a bunch of guys. So why not put them to work? So we have a lot of different people here to keep their eyes on everybody, right? So I'll be working a drill, going back and forth. He'll be down here taking separate guys too, okay? But I think that's more efficient too, having the centers really work that high wall base technique, and the tight ends can work that base because they're front side of power too. All right, so here's another look at it too. Got the brace to high knee combo, pulling the sink after contact. Here's a closer look at it. Now, I teach my guys too, right? What happens if he's not a 3 technique, right? He's a 2-eye. Well, the tackle's got to treat it the same. He might not come as hard through that with his high knee, but he's got to shuffle and get ready for that guy to slant to him, right? But if he stays a 2-eye and I take my shuffle, my steps, and he disappears, he's not there, I can work up now, okay? But it's going to look the exact same for my guys up front, depending on where that guy is. So really good job right here. 75 does a great job. Now, the only thing I don't like is that right hand involved. I want that right hand to be out of there on the high knee. But I like the displacement. I really want to focus on displacing that guy and helping the guard out so he can pull the sink. Now, this is one thing I love to tell people too. So if you have guys that overextend on strikes, I put bands on them. So right here, my guard has a band, a green band on his wrist, like handcuffs, because he likes to go like this on his strike. Well, by golly, I'm going to fix that, right? So a lot of drills that we do, we put bands around their wrists, so they got to keep everything tight. Pass pro, inside zone, like all that stuff you can do band work. Now, I don't do it against the defense because that sucks. But anything that we do drill world wise, you can do a band, okay? And it's the same thing right here with the brace. Like I said, he's striking the sternum, the other one's on the shoulder, so he can have that band on there, make it realistic, okay? And then he can pull the sink after that. All right, so here's a look at it, a different variation of, you see me coaching, right? A variation where the guy's a 2-eye. Okay? Hey, he's not a 3 anymore. He's a 2-eye. But I always teach worst case scenario. You always got to think the worst. I hate saying that, but if I'm going to play and be effective in everything I do, I got to think worst case scenario. So yes, he's a 2-eye, but if I'm the tackle, I'm thinking he's going to become a 3. Okay? And if he doesn't, that's bonus.
How does that change the brace play?
So he thinks he's by himself. He's basing the guy by himself. So he basically turns into a high wall, right? He's not just focusing on letting the tackle come. Hey, he's a 2-eye, I'm by myself. If he's a shade, I'm by myself. Like I'm just basing and turning that into a high wall like we did with the center and backside. Okay. So this is a really good job right here. You can see the guard. He's thinking he's by himself. Basing him. Turn that into a high wall. Don't have any help. Tackle sees that the hip's away. Shuffles, work vertical, meet the linebacker. That's a really good job. Really good job by those guys. Understanding the concept, understanding what needs to be done. Same thing here. So this is, hey, I got a 2-eye. Understand that guard, hey, I'm by myself. Now, if he slants to become a 3 and I go to base him, now it just turns into that brace technique, right? I can slow down. I know that tackle's going to be there to help, and I can take it after that. But I'm thinking I'm by myself. Tackle understands, hips away, vertical, meet the linebacker. Really good job. Now, I didn't talk about this yet. Meeting the linebacker, really important, okay? And you can see the way I approach the linebacker, under control, close the distance down, and I want to make sure I double under and meet him and stay square on that linebacker, okay? Why do I want to do that? Well, at the end of the day, they're more athletic than us. I hate saying that because O-line, I mean, we're athletes too, right? But if I go at them now and don't cut that distance down and try to break down, they're going to just go past me, right? But if I close that distance down, break down, and then I get my strike in there, now I'm more effective. Now the running back can cut off of me, okay? But if I turn and do all that stuff, like now I'm not effective with that block. So you can see right here, this tackle does a great job closing that distance down, getting vertical, double under, get my hands nice and tight, and staying square with that block. All right. Pulls. Okay, so this is a great drill for us. It's rapid fire. I go both sides. I get everybody involved. I get, right, I can talk about counter, but for this drill, I have 2 linebackers. If you want to do counter, you can get 2 down linemen and 2 linebackers, so you have 4 people. And the first day, it's chaos, y'all know. But once I teach them, hey, once you go, you take the mid ball, now you rotate. So you can see, like, it's a well-oiled machine. Everybody understands their process. Everybody has to go both ways, right? And like I said before, I teach all my guys everything. So the centers, the guards, the tackles are all doing these pulls, okay? They're all doing the pulls. They're all holding the med balls. They're all involved because at the end of the day, you never know who has to pull. Never know who has to be there, okay? So this is a really good drill right here. So this is our skip pulls. Okay, and you can kind of see, I know I'll go to the next one, but you can see with those 3 steps, stepping towards my landmark, skip, get under control, and once I get to that 3rd step, my eyes should be on that linebacker. My eyes should be on my landmark, okay? I want to make sure that I get depth because the double team's going to be there, the tight end's going to be there, and my eyes should be on that linebacker, that play side now, so I can see where I have to go, right? So this is a really good job by 65. Like I said, you under control, approach that linebacker, double under, drive him to the whistle. Okay, so really good job by him. Now he rotates, gets the mid ball, go to the next drill. All right, so here's him going the other way. You can see it this way. So his first step, I'm not saying a big step, but it's just a quick jab step towards the landmark. Then I get into my skip. Okay, that keeps me under control. That keeps me with a good base, keeps me square. Now I can go downhill to that linebacker. Really good job by him. Boom. Right? Rapid fire, gets the med ball, next guy goes. There's my center, 71's pulling. All right, so that's the pulls. That's the brace, high knee. Now we're getting into the base, that high wall with the center, okay? So this is another drill just working. Hey, I'm basing against the D lineman. I'm basing him, can't let him cross my face. You can see he's not really turned. He's more at an angle trying to stay square as long as possible, but have that heavy inside hand, play side hand, so that guy can't cross his face. Okay, so this is a really good job by this center, 68, of working that technique. And you can see with those first 2 steps, right, it's not going to be downhill. It's going to be more at him. Right, and get that second step in the ground with power, right, that power step. All right, next thing. So like I said, everything kind of correlates, right? So we did all those drills. Now we're going into pods. And with pods, we're going against the defense. And I love it too because we'll kind of throw in some inside zone, throw some power in there, some counter, so the defense doesn't know what's going on. I love it because there's a lot of, like, inside and pods. A lot of those drills are not for us. They're more for the defense, but I make it for us. We do what we want to do in that drill, right? So right here, I got power. So we got power to the right. So we got 3 technique on the backside. Center's pulling. Got a shade. So now he's working by himself. The tackle understands, hey, there's no combo. I'm just taking my footwork up to the linebacker. I know the tackle's not in there, but just making it as a bigger picture for you guys to see. Okay, so right here, you got the center pull. You can see his footwork, skip pull, trying to get depth. All right, you got Seth, number 72 over here, the left guard. Now, I also teach my guys, if you want to take a step inside because you think he's going to slant, I'm good with it, right? But it can't be a big step inside. It's got to be a quick step inside just in case he slants. I'm ready for that. Okay, so you can see Seth right here, the left guard, taking that quick inside step just in case he slants. He doesn't slant, now I can base. Now, I don't like his hands. I think his hands should be inside. I probably should put some bands on him. But I really like the right guard, staying square, down block, high wall, doesn't let that nose cross his face. This is a really good example of the interior guys with power.
If it's a situation where you pull your center, you adjust your depth from your guards and tackles off the ball, like you hug the ball in.
No, sir. The only person, and I'll talk about this too, so the only person that I tell him he can hug the ball more will be the play side tackle with that gallop technique, so you can get closer to that. But our levels I tell my guards their head has to be on the center's hip, right? That gives us enough depth. That gives us enough of a landmark to be on. And then our splits, 2-foot splits, unless we want to change it up, right? So my right tackle on power can get a bigger split because he has to have room to work, okay? But I don't have them change their levels or anything depending on the play, unless you're the tackle. All right, so here's a look at power. So game, okay? So this first one, this is going to be power left. All right, so perfect world. We communicated. Got a shade to the front side, 3 to the back side. So who's pulling? The center, okay? There's no 3 technique to the front side. So the tackle understands, hey, I'm going to go through my footwork. If there's nothing there that comes to me, I can work up to the linebacker, okay? Backside, we're matching. We're not letting that defensive end make any penetration up the field, okay? That 3 technique is getting blocked by the guard because the center's pulling, so he's in the same boat. High wall, can't let him cross my face, try to stay square as long as possible. All right, I love this drill. I love this clip right here because, one, you see the center pulling. All right, and I teach my guys, all right, you got the first linebacker play side, right? And I hate to say you have the Sam, you have the Will. I hate saying those because it could be, in this instance, we have a blitz and safety. We have somebody blitzing off the edge. So if I tell them the Sam, they're like, Coach, that ain't the Sam, I don't get them. They're literal, right? We know how it is. So I tell them the first defender off the edge, depending on if there's a blitz or not, right? So this is a really good instance of my center understanding, hey, he's the first thing off the edge. He comes, I got to pick him up. He kicks out, okay? Now, looking at my left tackle, he shuffles. That defensive end crossed my face. Do I take him? Absolutely. Can't let anything cross my face. But I said earlier, that tight end has the defensive end no matter where he goes, right? Well, the tackle took him. Where does the tight end go now? To the backside linebacker. We just exchange responsibilities, okay? So we got to make sure that we understand that because you know tight ends, man, that, oh, he took my guy. What do I do now? We drill it. We work it. We talk about it, right? Yes, I told you you have the defensive end no matter where he goes, but if he's covered and he's taken, you got to take the next guy, okay? So this is a really good job by my left tackle collecting, the tight end going up to the linebacker, center kicking. Now, I know one of the coaches talked earlier about the running back not making the right read and all that. I don't understand why he didn't just go there, but he's a freshman, right? Now, what we teach is the running back is following the puller. I know Coach talked about earlier, well, we don't want the running back to get mesmerized by the puller. Well, we teach it where he follows the puller because at the end of the day, he's the lead blocker, okay? So the running back, our mesh, he's going to shuffle. We wait for the ball to be caught by the quarterback. It gives us time. So the running back, he's waiting for the ball to get caught by the quarterback. He shuffles. He gets the mesh. He's looking right at the puller. Looking right at the puller. The puller, in this instant, kicks out. So now he knows I can go underneath that puller and go. Okay? Now, perfect world, the puller goes up to the linebacker. He's following him, waiting for that block to hit, and now he's off to the races. Okay? So, like I said, everybody does it different, but I tell my guys, hey, you're following the puller. Once he makes a block, you cut and go. That's your job. All right, this next one. So we got power to the right. Tight end, like I said earlier, tight end can be on the ball. He can be off the ball, right? I don't want any tendencies. I can line them up wherever we need to make it change and be different than everybody else, right? So we think our tight end's better off the ball because now he has leverage, okay? So we're running power to the right. Tight end has the defensive end. There's only 2 linebackers in the box, so my tackle understands he is galloping and high wall in that or high knee in that to the backside linebacker, bracing with the right guard. We got a shade so the guard can pull. Perfect. Matching on the backside. Matching because if the quarterback wants to pull and throw the RPO off the edge, he can. Okay? So this is a great example. This is from our scrimmage this past spring. Okay? Great example of Seth, right here, left guard, pulling, skip pulling, nice and tight off that double team, kicking out. Play style linebacker. That's a really good job by him. All right. Now you talked about splits, right? If I have a tight 5, I know as a tackle I can get a bigger split because that guy's going to be really tight off of me. Okay. So I think he should have got a little wider with the split. Okay. Because that allows me to have more room. That allows me to be able to work and get off that high wall, that high knee up to that linebacker without being pushed down by that defensive end. Because we all know the first thing that tight end is going to do is try to cave that thing down, right? Because he's not athletic enough to really block on the line of scrimmage. So that's what happens here. Guy squeezes, tight end just washing it down. So my tackle's really got to work on getting off that block and working up to the linebacker, okay? Which he does. He's a really good player. So he gets to come off that, gets to the backside linebacker, seals that off. Really good job by him. All right, the one thing I want you to see is this center. What does he do wrong? Doesn't high wall. He lets the guy cross his face. Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding me? That's the one thing you do. That's your job, right? But he does a good job of staying on him and allowing the running back to cross him, right? He's not effective, right? You can see right here, left tackle number 58. He's matching, trying to stay on that guy square as long as possible, just in case that quarterback pulls the ball. All right?
Coach, let me ask you this. In that formation right here, that H-back, his leverage, he's going to have a hard time digging out the 5.
Correct.
Right? So it looks like to me most times, if you're going to set similar to that, he's going to end up blocking it down.
Correct. Yep.
Do you give anything to your guards? I mean, is he just reading that on the run, or do you give any information to him, like formationally, to know, hey, look, the H-backs here, we're going to really try and kick him out so we can insert, or versus, if he's hit like that, we're probably going to go around, or is he just kind of seeing that as he goes?
Yeah, so I teach my guards when they're square through that to read that block while he's going up to linebacker, because at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, that's going to be caved down. Okay? The only time that you probably will go underneath that is if he's a 9 technique. You know what I'm saying? So then the tight end's going to kick that thing out. But perfect world, more than likely what's going to happen is he's going to, especially with our defense, they're going to line up heavy 5 inside that tight end. So then he's going to have to block down. So that's why I teach them with that skip pull, staying square, eyes through the linebacker so I can read that block and be off that. Okay? Really good question. Really good job by everybody. All right, this next one. So we got power, and I'm going to go from the wide for this one right here. So we got power to the right. Same thing, right? So we got the sniffer, that H-back right there. All right. We have an RPO called and an uncovered call. So what does that mean? So what my quarterback is doing, we call it RPO. We call it uncovered. He's looking at the uncovered RPO pre-snap to see what he has out there, right? The uncovered, it's what we call a Chevy, which is just a quick out. But he's looking at the uncovered first to see, hey, right here he's pressed. He ain't gonna get that. I'm moving on. I'm not looking at that anymore. But if he was back and it's a gimme, he's probably gonna throw that uncovered. But if that's covered, now he's gonna look at the RPO. If they're back playing cover 3 or whatever they want to play and they're back and not pressing, right here we have a Chevy where the number 2 receiver is going to go block out. Number 1's going to come in with a quick in, right? Probably don't have that either, so now we're going to hand the ball, right? So we're looking for easy yards, right? And I tell my guys all the time, hey, if he throws the ball, RPO uncovered, they better get positive yards. I'm getting pissed. But at the end of the day, I love yards. I love scoring touchdowns. So if it goes the way we want it to go, it's bonus for us. But RPO means run first, right? So he's always looking to hand the ball first unless we can, okay? So this is a really good look at 2x2, tight end attached. Right, you can see them running the RPO out here, going to block, but it's not there, so he hands the ball. Okay, uncover's not there, running that quick out like I talked about. He's pressed, ain't going to throw that. So this is a really good job right here of the quarterback seeing those, seeing the big picture. Probably need to hand the ball. Go from the tight view. So we got power to the right. Tight 5. Tight end's going to get the 5. The tackle got a 3 technique, so he's going to gallop through that. Right guard's going to brace that. Guard's going to pull because there's a shade. Backside tackle's going to match. Okay, so working through. Tight 5, tight end does a great job of caving that thing down. Now, this is a great example of communicating. So, yeah, we have a 5, but we also have a linebacker that's down. So we communicate, hey, he's up, he's up, he's up. So the puller knows with that skip pull, now it's going to turn into a square pull.
Don't count that out. I mean, with the center ID, a 3-backer box.
So we would call this, in my opinion, and hopefully they did this, this will be a loaded box, right? Because we got 3 linebackers in the box. But the tight end and tackle have to see, hey, he's up. So he's going to be the first guy that the guard's getting anyways, the play side linebacker. He's up. Now the guard knows he has to get there now. If he was back, loaded box, he now knows, hey, he's not up. He's a loaded box, though. I'm getting that guy. I can square pull and go downhill to him now, right? Loaded box knows the tackle has to get to the mic. The one guy we cannot block is that backside linebacker, but that's why we have an RPO off the edge. Okay?
Your tackle right here, your right tackle, if he doesn't get that lateral displacement, if you don't knock him over to the A-gap like that and kind of get stuck, will you keep your inside leg high and keep that same kind of posture, or will you turn that more into like a drive?
I would turn it, and you could see him, I would turn it more into a drive. Now, in that case, and this happens some, right? Let's say that 3 technique plays more into that tackle, and the tackle can't go anywhere, but this linebacker runs downhill, that guard knows he has to come off, okay? But in this instance, let's look at the split. He probably could get a little wider with the split to have more room, especially with – I tell these guys, you know how it is. When the bullets are flying, they forget about everything. But I'm telling you, hey, if you got a tight 5 and you got a 3 technique, widen your split out so you have room to get there to that 3 technique and not get caved down, right? So he could probably get a little wider with his split, okay? That'll help everybody in that instance. That'll allow him to have more room to work and stay square and be able to come off. But I really love how he works through that up to that linebacker. See that? That's the drill we're doing on the Crowther, right? We're working, then we come off. So that's a really good job by him of understanding, hey, I didn't get any movement to start with. I got to keep working up to that linebacker, okay?
So when that dog walks down, you're shifting your tackle from the backside. He's now going to 49 out there.
Well, it's a loaded box.
Right.
Yep. So there's 3 linebackers in the box.
Right.
So I teach it where if there's 1 linebacker in the box, right? So we got 2x2. They want to take away the RPO and uncover. That's 2. Like all the linebackers are out except 1. We have them as a tackle. 2 linebackers in the box. We're going to the backside. Loaded box. We got the mic. Okay, because if it's a loaded box, we can't block him. Right. We got to get him as a tackle, and we got to get that with the puller. So hopefully, with that RPO, that'll take 26 out of the box.
All right, let me ask you this, Coach. All right, so I don't want to get too involved.
Oh, you good?
But, so let's say you got an inline tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and H back to the same side. Okay, now if you got 3, now okay, with that, can you kind of see what I'm saying? That if the tight end's on the right side, now he can account for the mic.
Right.
You adjust your call depending on personnel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll get to it. I got odd front coming up where it kind of changes that. But yeah, that would affect what we do. Yep. But like we're talking about with the loaded box, that changes our responsibility now. Okay. But really good job by everybody. Got the center high wall in, staying square. Got the backside tackle matching. So with the match, I also tell them, hey, you can jump set that too to close it down. So instead of you just going to base him and all that, you can go jump that and close it down now and then turn into a pass. Okay. But we don't want to pick in hands like I talked about where you close that down. Okay. But you can see right here, my left tackle, he's jump setting that to kind of close that distance down. Stay on that. Really good job off to the races. Love yards. Tutty. All right, so here's a game. We're running power to the right. Power to the left. All right, so we got power to the left. So we throw the RPO. All right, like I talked about in the last picture. We didn't throw the RPO. Why? Because they're pressed. So right here, the quarterback looks. He can 2-on-1. Probably shouldn't throw the uncovered. Got them off the ball back, giving them a cushion. Right? Probably can throw the RPO. Okay, so he made that decision. Threw the RPO. Now, I don't like all this where he goes across the formation, but I do like how if the quarterback makes the decision, we all stick with it. We play it like we should, And then the O-line understands, hey, there's a point where I know that there's no body running the ball. Now I'm going to block. All right, so you can see all my offensive linemen down there running. Once they realize they didn't hand the ball, see it's RPO, now I'm going to try to find somebody and find some meat, right? Now, if he would have handed the ball, who knows what would have happened, right? But really good job right here. So skip pull. I got it circled because this is a really good skip pull, nice and tight. All right, so this is a look right here. So odd front. All right, got a head up 0, got a 4-eye. All right, 4-eye on both sides. 2 linebackers in the box. So in this instant, right, the center and left guard are working that brace high knee to the backside linebacker, right? I talked about it earlier in drill work. Everybody does it. Why? Because everybody has an opportunity to do it in a game, depending on the formation and depending on the defense, right? So right here, I'm glad I worked it in drill work. So the center now is bracing. The left guard is working the high knee. The tackle's working the brace. The tight end's working the high knee to the front side linebacker, okay? Look at that. Really good job by them, right? So if they would have handed it, good skip pull, I think it would have been fine. But he chose to throw the RPO because it was uncovered, which is a good decision.
That look with an odd front, if the outside backer to the play side walks up at the tight end, kick him out.
He's going to get him. Yep, absolutely. So then he'll just turn into by himself. Tight end will take that. Like I said before, tight end's always going to have the defensive end no matter where he's at. So he could be up here, he could be inside. But if that, like you said, if that guy walked down, he's got to take him.
Even at your level, do you still have issues with marker being the hip? Because I see your tight end doesn't really hit, he doesn't attack the hip like he
Right.
taught in practice. You know, we have that issue.
Well, it's difficult too because like his footwork's terrible, right? But it's also too like I teach my guys. There's 3 words I teach. You got vacate, where the defender just left. There's the hip's gone, right? Which I think in this instance it's gone, right? You got presence, where that guy's kind of there, where you can make contact, and then you got a threat where the guy comes at you, right? So I teach my guys, hey, if there's a threat, you knock it over on the high knee. If there's presence, you got to feel it out, right? If there's presence, I can knock it over, I'm good. But if there's not a lot of room for that, then I can work up. If he vacates, then I got to get up vertical now, like we talked about with the drill work earlier. So in this instant, if I'm the tight end and he's already a 4-eye and he goes with that tackle, he should have vacated and went up. He should have left because that guy disappeared. The hip's gone, right? But at the end of the day, that footwork that he does is awful. That's not what I teach. Why are you turning? Why are you trying to get your head involved? And everything that I taught, you don't have your head. You have your shoulder and your hand. You're trying to hit that hip. So great question. Yeah, we have difficulties at our level too. But if he would have just done the technique that we taught and drilled, he'd have been fine. All right, next one. So we got power to the left. He chose to throw the uncovered. So I like to show both. So we have the RPO down here. Got the uncovered up there. Got power going to the left. Okay? So in this instant, he felt like the uncover was better. He's running it in right here. A glance. Okay? Which, in my opinion, probably wouldn't have threw it because you got safety and the corner right there. But he decided to do it because he thought he had enough cushion. And he saw the safety come down, which, hey, I'm good. Easy money. Easy yards, quick 16 yards right there. That's good. Now, good decision, right? So, got power to the left. Tight end's on the ball. So, we saw a lot of clips where he's off the ball. He's on the ball. He has the defensive end inside of him. We have a 2-eye to the front side, 3 to the back side. Center's pulling. So they're communicating. Everybody knows who's pulling, right? Tackle understands, hey, I got a 2-eye. I still got to go through my footwork just in case that guy slants, right? So I can knock it over. If he doesn't slant, I can work up. They also understand, hey, there's only 2 linebackers in the box. So that tackle is working to 12. Perfect. We should have everything handled. All right. Left tackle goes through his footwork. Oh, snap. 0 slanted to me. Knock it over. All right. Now, that's not That's not the best. I think he might have got a little surprised, right? But he has to work to keep knocking that thing over, get up to 12, which he does. Tight end, that's awful. Come on, man. All right, I don't coach tight ends. I'm O-line coach, right? But hey, you're by yourself, big dog. That's on you. But like that's what I talked about earlier. I didn't think he's good enough on the line, so I put him as a sniffer. Then now you see why we did that, because I don't think he's strong enough and tough enough to block that guy, and he has better leverage if he gets back here and that guy's right there. Okay, but really good job, good skip pull.
Coach, in your opinion, how tough is it for a center, to pull like that? I mean,
I don't think it's difficult. I don't think it's difficult. Now, the one thing that I have to focus on the most is his snap.
Right. That would be the thing, because it's a great idea, but I'm thinking in my head, I have a bright idea, and I'm gonna pull my center and snap it over the quarterback's head. I'm fired.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's why.
Yeah, it's difficult, but like I said before, like we drill it, and you have to really focus on it. And we even do it with quarterback center exchange, is working that, because I know a lot of times when you snap as a center and you're going to move either to your snap hand side or pull, your snap's gonna go the opposite way. So you really got to focus on that snap while you're stepping, right? So we really work on doing those simultaneously so he gets comfortable with it. Because at the end of the day, it's muscle memory, right? So you can see right here, he does a great job of, he does the snap and steps, but it ain't a big step because he's skip pulling, right?
You ever worry about that backside backer blitzing?
Some, but at the end of the day too, that's why we have the option of RPO uncovered, because if he's coming, something could be thrown behind it. You know what I'm saying? Correct, right? But we also too, like with this brace high knee, if we see that backside linebacker, because that's our responsibility, we see him either blitzing or coming after the snap, we can come off on that. All right. But that's something we got to rep and communicate and all that stuff too. And that's the same thing like we saw earlier with the bear front or the sink front. If he walks down, it's just down anyways, right? But we don't really see a lot of that. You can just see him kind of stepping down to conceal that gap, but we don't really care about it. But to answer your question, yeah, we love pulling the center, but it's just a lot of drill work and getting him comfortable. So everything we do in drills, pre-practice, all that is the center snapping. Like he's snapping, taking his footwork, the different steps, like all that stuff, so you can get comfortable with it. Yeah. No. I mean, and at the end of the day, it's all about my centers love pulling. Like there's times like I tell you, like you only pull when there's a 3. I had in my scrimmage the other day, the center, there was a 2-eye and the center's like, I'm pulling. Why? I want to. I haven't pulled in a while. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like they like it. And like I tell them in a game, like Delta State had a really good All-American defensive nose guard, right? So I can tell those guys like, hey, if he's a 2-eye and he's a fast shit, like really good, why not just base him with the guard and have the center pull instead of having the center have to go all the way back to him and all that. So there's instances where we can do that, but my centers love it, so they're going to work on it because they want to pull. So I think they enjoy it.
You find that you catch linebackers, like you get a step ahead of the linebackers if they're so conditioned to reading guards.
Correct. And that's why we do it too, because linebackers are always looking at the guards. Well, shoot, the guards are basing. Now it's too late, right? They can't really go downhill. They can't really flow like they want to because they see the guard basing. Now the center's pulling, right? So here's a variation of, we got power, but it's kick, right? So this is something that we can really correlate. We've done a really good job of blocking down with that tight end, blocking down. Now we can arc the tight end and kick out the defensive end with the pulling guard or center, okay? So really good. Right here, I'll go to the tight view. All right, so really good high knee right here. Bang, look at that. That the right tackle, high knee, working up to the linebacker. Braced by the right guard, pull the sink. That's a really good job. Look at that. All right, so there's 99, right? So there's a 2-eye, 99. I talked about All-American. Got the center blocking back on him, pulling the guard. Got the match by the left tackle. And with the kick, That's not a skip pull anymore. That's a square pull. So we understand now, hey, he's kicking. He's just going to open up, be tight down the line of scrimmage, and kick the closest thing. Now, it's essentially trap. Right? A lot of people call it trap. All right, but really good job right there by my pulling guard, getting nice and tight, kicking with his right shoulder. And I teach my guys, I know we haven't really talked about counter and my guys kicking out, but anytime we're kicking out, we are kicking out with that play side shoulder. So if I'm going to the right shoulder. Why? Because it covers up the body of that down lineman and it doesn't allow him to cross my face. Okay? But if I kick with my left, now there's a short edge, he can wrong arm me, all that stuff. But I'm kicking with that close to shoulder, I can cover him up. Okay? So really good job by that left guard kicking out, giving the room for the running back. Easy 9 yards.
This is a tag, like y'all call this.
Yeah, this would be kick. Yep. So this is just, we call power kick, right? Just a tag that we add on to it and everybody understands. Now, when we do power kick, the RPO and stuff's off. The receivers are now blocking. So the tight end is going to number 3. The 2 receivers to his side is going to 1 and 2, most dangerous. And then the backside wide receiver is going to block the corner.
So what's the reason
of blocking?
Yeah, the RPO.
It changed because now the tight end has to arc because he's not involved in blocking the defense end because we're kicking him out.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So now he understands if we call kick, he has final 3, either that linebacker overhang or the safety. And now everybody understands on the perimeter they're blocking. Because if we don't do that, then he won't be able to block number 3 because they're going to be out in coverage, all that stuff. Like now it makes it easier for everybody. All right, same thing. So we got power, left, kick. All right, so same rules. Now, we didn't have the tight end attached. He's now 2x2 unattached. So this is perfect. Look at that. So they are on the edge, right? So 2x2, no tight end attached. They're blocking. So instead of him arcing now, he is blocking because he's unattached. All right, same thing. So same responsibilities, okay? So the tackle and left guard are going to high knee, brace that to the backside linebacker. Center's blocking back. Guard's pulling because he has a 2-eye. Match on the backside. All right, and now we even added another tag where running backs going to boss, that we talked about earlier, and quarterback run. So there's a lot of different things you can do with power. Now, I don't like how this running back just hits and just let's go, but I don't coach them. But I'm just happy he made contact. That's all I asked for, right? But really good job by this left tackle and left guard, working that high knee brace technique, working up to linebacker, sealing them off. Center, working that high wall. Right, getting a little pancake in there. I love pancakes. Right, and then you got the kicker, the right guard kicking, nice and tight. Left shoulder, you can see he's covering him up. Driving his feet after contact. Now you got the running back blocking the play side linebacker, and now the quarterback has nobody to tackle. Love it. We'll take that all day. All right. I know that's a lot of stuff right there, okay? Any questions? Okay. I got my cards up here. Like I said before, I'm happy to share anything, practice film, drill work, whatever you guys want. Take my card, contact me, and I'd love to talk ball. I'd love to just clinic with you guys and talk. I mean, I know I just did power, but we do our bread and butter, inside zone, mid zone, power counter. We do GT counter, GY counter. We do a bunch of stuff, right? Pin pull when we got the right look, all that stuff. So a lot of good stuff that y'all can take with you if you want.